Hey, it's Chris Bowling.
Chris Byer.
Brad Johnson on Blue Shirt Day.
It is Blue Shirt
It's
Day.
the Blue Shirt crew. I love this. So I'm glad we all texted each other last night to come up with this. This is just great minds thinking alike today.
You know, Brad and I are wondering where's the gray undershirt because we even went that far to coordinate this.
Yeah.
I can't be like everybody. I still need to be my own self. Even though my glasses match yours, my shirt matches Brad's. I mean, it's just we're trying to keep a little bit yin and yang. There we go. All right.
All right.
But seriously,
yeah,
you have something to talk about today.
Even though Fashion Week starts next week, that is not why we are meeting here today. We're meeting, Brad, I believe, to talk about your Bottom Line Thursday newsletters, which we always enjoy. And we thought we'd kick this off with your first bullet point. Let's talk about affordability for 2024.
Let's do it. So, the IRS every year sets these affordability percentages, which basically to the employer means what percentage of that employee's pay, equates to what the employee contribution is, such that the government can say that's either affordable to that person or not, right? And so I'm sure everyone's been through that drill, so I won't go too deep in that. But what's interesting, the percentage dropped. It went from 9.12% to 8.39%. So just think 9 to 8, big picture. But what's interesting, you might think, oh, the affordability dropped. Well, to the employer, it has the inverse problem. It means that more employees will probably be tagged as being offered unaffordable coverage.
Right.
And if they go to the exchange, healthcare.gov, and get a policy and get a subsidy for that, the employer gets a penalty. And so that's really where the dust up occurs.
You think, Brad, that they dropped the percentage as a result of the inflated wages that we've seen?
I don't have a lot of visibility to it. It makes sense though. Yeah, it does make sense. I'm not sure how much politics flows into these numbers, but what's interesting though, a few years back the percentage went up, not down, and then last year it went down again, and so it's becoming easier to be unaffordable.
Yeah.
It's kind of screwy. Couple thoughts though, and let's just maybe kick this around for Bruce, because I know it'll mean different things for different employers.
Sure.
So, a lot of employers, we're seeing especially a lot of school groups, they can only subsidize the single rate, and they can't subsidize the family.
Right.
So an odd benefit of this though is that more families might be able to qualify for the family glitch, meaning they could get a subsidy, the family members, the spouse, and the kids, as long as the employer is making sure it's affordable for their employee.
Yeah.
Now that's one positive angle.
That's been a big discussion point for us. As we're recording this in September, for a lot of our July renewals, which are nonprofit and education, we've been talking about that. The affordability factor applies to the employee, but the family could still potentially get a subsidy now with that change that happened in January. And we've seen a lot of conversation where maybe that family doesn't take the ACA marketplace plan and subsidy because it's not a rich enough plan, but at least these organizations are providing another option when they can't subsidize that family. It's had some positive impacts on those employees and their families.
Yeah. And I think the other angle on this too, when we think about, you're going to get a penalty, I think it's important for us to separate. There's two penalties for the ACA, two main penalties. The ones they call it the sledgehammer. That's if you don't offer minimum essential coverage to 95% of your workforce, and it can be unaffordable to them. So we're not talking about that penalty. That's one you definitely do not want to pay. This is the one they often call the tack hammer penalty. So a smaller little hammer. But I think, I know the three of us have talked about, believe it or not, even if you now have more employees that are deemed it's unaffordable to them to buy your coverage and they go to the exchange, it might not be the end of the world.
Agreed.
I know, and you both have some good strategies with your clients, and I have with mine, that you might have a couple that do it, but compare your penalty that you'd pay on just those people that get the subsidy to what you're subsidizing today if they took coverage.
Right.
And so let's see, the latest.
I think on our benchmarking report, we saw that the average PPO is about $2,000 in the Midwest, with about almost $700 in premium, and the employer is paying $550 of that. So the penalty is, it could be much less than $550 a month.
Yeah,
to
that's
say we
great
didn't make it
insight.
affordable.
Because the
you
penalty
start to
for-
think through what's the actual cost to the employer. Penalty is a scary word, but if it's a dollars and cents scenario, it may not be as bad as it may seem.
Yeah, you nailed it, CB. So the penalty for 2024, if you have unaffordable coverage for that person, just call it $372 a month, roughly. So if the
Less than
employer is only
$550.
subsidizing 500 versus the penalty of 372, now granted, the penalty is not tax deductible, but that's math still works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
No,
I find it fascinating that I don't think anybody's insurance premiums are going down in 2024, but yet the affordability percentage is going down. I'd like to know the brainiac behind that math, but we'll never know that.
they probably don't wear blue shirts.
Yeah, they certainly don't coordinate the way that we do.
Or glasses.
Yes, beautiful, and is a perfect way to sign it off.
Thank
you, Brad, as always.
We'll see
All
you.
right. See you next week.
See you.
All right, bye-bye.